Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Stock Market Morning Prep video for Monday, June 1st, first day of the month. Hopefully we get some mutual fund inflows that continue to try to push this market higher. On Friday, it had no success at all. We actually finished down on the day. Not so much of a crazy day to the downside, but nonetheless, the numbers for May were pretty dismal. I mean, I believe the S&P was up 1% and NASDAQ was up 0.5%. So again, virtually no movement. I think we're up 3 and change for the year, and most of that was from January. So we still have gone absolutely nowhere. We had an inside week, for that matter. I'll show you. Although the Dow and the transports are starting to break. Well, excuse me. The Dow is starting to break down. The transports have been breaking down, and yet no one seems to really care. That being said, we have to follow what the markets are giving us. The trend is your friend, obviously, and we really have no trend. I mean, we are, quote, in an uptrend, but if you look at the daily charts, and then looking at them right here, we're going to go through these indice charts yet again. It's been quite boring. We've really just been hovering into this ascending triangles, if you will, making higher highs and higher lows. So the trend for the daily is up, but if you dive into May, we really haven't gone anywhere, guys. I mean, really, this is just a bunch of chop here. And May, the sell in May going away, hasn't materialized. And again, that does change. It is just sort of, fun things to say about the market. Sell in May, go away. And it does usually happen every once in a while. Let's see if June comes into play. Now, June, July, August, we get a lot of chop. And I'm really hoping and praying that this does not continue, because it has been quite boring, nothing moving. And if you are in the money, you have to be taking your profits rather quickly, or at least moving your stops up. And that's what the markets have been giving us. So I do see a correction. I mean, look, I'll tell you, if the transports do not rally and they continue to sell off, I just don't see it going unnoticed. I mean, we had China last week. It really got crushed and really didn't affect our markets that much. So let's see what happens here. I mean, it really is anybody's guess, guys. I couldn't tell you if we're going higher or lower today. It's anybody's guess. We had some words come out of Greece that they're making a payment, and all of a sudden the pre-market futures jumped up to positive. So, that being said, let's see if we can make up some ground from losing on Friday, and then try to make new highs again. I mean, it's really the best I can tell you. There's really not much happening here until we break out of this area of 21 to 14, call it, or if we start to break that 50-day moving average. That's really where the levels and zones I'm going to be looking for. Look, if we could take out last week's high of 12.1297, and then we need to take out 12.14. So let's say 12.13, 12.14 to the upside, or a break below Monday's low, which is 12.10. If we can get that taken out, then I think we'll take the 50 and we'll meet to this lower trend line area of support. And then, of course, would be that 200-day moving average. So those are the levels that I'm looking for this week in the spiders. And let's see what happens here. You can see the IWM's really not going anywhere. We have pretty much capped some sort of a resistance area. If I take this area here, you can see that, we broke up in this little gap area here. Then we came into support. We broke down. Now we're touching support again. It is a lower high from the previous high, and then this lower high from this previous high. So technically, in the bigger picture, we're making lower lows and lower highs. However, we had this uptrend channel come in, which was violated, and now we're back up again. So this little area here, making higher highs and higher lows. So really not much to say. It is a little weaker than the spiders, obviously. So let's see what happens this week, because we need to break out here. This is just boring stuff, I got to tell you. And I apologize. There's really not much I can tell you other than what we're looking at here. Here's the transports. Now we broke down again. We closed below this critical area of support. And I always like to give it a 2-day rule. If we close below it, the critical support or break out of resistance, let's see if the next day can hold. If it can hold, then I think we got something going on here. And I do think that this here, obviously we are in a downtrend, in the transport. So if we close below and we could take out this low, then look out below, guys. And I think that we're going to meet this area here, this ultimate low of 137.13. I'll put a mark on it, and I'll highlight that chart as well. That's going to be the new low going forward, moving forward here, okay? So transport's not looking pretty. Diamonds, you can see they're starting to break down as well. It closed below the 50-day moving average by a couple of pennies. But again, if that does break out, if we take out Friday's low on the Dow, then I think we'll meet this area of support, and then, of course, the 200. So those are the critical areas I'm looking at. 180 to the downside, and, of course, let's take out the Monday's high of 182, and then we would meet this secondary high here at 138.35, okay? So those are the levels for the Dow. And lastly, as you can see, the Qs really didn't do too much. Tech starts to lag going into the summer, guys. So we do have a couple of big tech conferences, which they usually run them up into that. The Google Tech Conference, I think Microsoft has one. Once that subsides, then markets start to sell off a little bit in technology. So let's keep an eye on tech and see where it going and giving us some clues. Again, banks and financials. They're starting to pull back a little bit, which is fine. I mean, they had a decent run. But I'm still looking for clues for housing, if we can get into the housing market here as far as via the builders and some of these banks and financials as well. XLK really hasn't done much. We're down below the 24, I believe it was 24.50, 24.60. So, again, failed breakout yet again in the XLF, which is that big number that everybody seems to be looking at. So let's keep an eye on that as well. A lot to look at, a lot to digest. In the meantime, let's see what happens and let price dictate which way we're headed. Have a great day. We'll speak to you tomorrow. Hope everybody enjoyed their weekend, by the way.